Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming Last Chance Qualifier here on the rainy Friday evening at the Apex Home Store in Caldwell, Ohio. I'm Todd Tandy Anderson, joined by Ross Merriam. Say hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
And we got one round down, four more to bring you before we give away 4 slots to Sunday's main event, the $20,000 Apex Invitational. We just watched Living End versus Tron, as well as a Rakdos Mirror, and then we saw Murktide versus Four Color Beans.
Yes.
And in those matchups, we had Robin Gonzalez defeat Will Hall XP, playing that Rakdos Mirror. Living In was able to defeat Tron, and then Murktide was able to defeat the Beanstalk player. But for this round, Ross, why don't you give us a rundown of the two players we're going to be watching up first and what decks are playing?
Yeah, so we're going to be starting with Charles Davis on Temur Rhinos, playing against Krista Oskapinski on Eldrazi Tron. Blast from the past here.
Well, you say blast from the past. I say that Krista has just been living in Eldrazi Tron for the last 3 years. You know?
But I got to say, in this matchup, the Cascade matchup, having those main deck Chalice the Voids, there's 3 and then 1 on the sideboard as a Karn target, going to be pretty important. Charles does have a couple Flames of Anor in the main deck, and then obviously more Disenchants in the sideboard, but Chalice the Void is definitely a problem for these Cascade decks, and then you got some really powerful threats to back it up. I kind of like the way the Etron deck is.
Well, I also just
situated.
really like Krista, and I think that she's going to win because she knows how to play Etron, because she's playing Etron in the year of our Lord 2023.
Matter Reshaper is a fine card against Rakdos.
Okay. Who paid you to say that? Who paid you to say Matter Reshaper is a fine card? Get Patrick Sullivan on the phone! I'm taking this man to court! He's lying! He's libelous!
You get 2 cards for only investing 1 card.
Okay, all right.
2 is more than 1.
Okay,
I'm a certified numbers scientist.
That's fair.
I can confirm 2 greater than 1.
So Ross did make the
alligator
great
eats the
point.
2.
Can I speak? Ross made the great point that the main deck Chalice of the Voids from Krista's Eldrazi Tron are going to be excellent against the Rhinos decks. And I would like to say that when I played against Eldrazi Tron a lot back in the 2018 time period, 2017 time period, when Chalice of the Void was a good card by itself in the metagame, that's when Eldrazi Tron was at its strongest.
Yeah, no, Chalice on 1 is a fine play against the Rakdos decks. It stops the scammy scams, stops Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, Ragavan, Thoughtseize. So they got plenty of 1s. Not so great against the Bean decks. That's probably where it's at its weakest. But against those decks, now you get to play the 1 ring.
Yeah.
This is Eldrazi Tron, but there's no copies of Reality Smasher.
Yeah, it's much less aggressive, way more like just colorless Tron. Yeah. All right, well, the players are situated and ready in the feature match area, so let's head on down and see who takes it down between these two players. We're going to have Krista. I've just been saying Krista O. It's Oskapinski.
I would think it's pronounced Oskapinski.
Oskapinski. So Krista O. Hey, head on down there. I already said head on down there. Head on down there.
I didn't know whether to tell you about
We got raided from
Oh!
Demonic Tutors.
Demonic Tutors with a big raid.
Awesome.
Hey, thank you so much, D. We actually were watching Demonic Tutors play some live Magic against PT Bench on Young Dingo stream just like last night or night before. It was fun.
Well, Raiders got here just in time. This is round 2 of 5
Welcome.
for tonight. The first of 3 last chance qualifiers for our $20,000 Modern Invitational. That'll be happening on Sunday. So we got 1 LCQ today, 2 more tomorrow. Todd and I will be covering all of them, and then the Invitational 2 days from now.
All right, well, we are underway here, and it looks like the names are backwards, but we'll get that fixed in just a moment. Krista has kept a 1-land expedition map hand and bricked on land number 2. Must have mulliganed aggressively and just whiffed. Still doesn't find it, but now Charles Davis, a.k.a. Chucky. I actually talked to him a bit before the event started. He's a Lorcana head like me.
Chucky D.
Old Chuck D.
All right, so is that a swamp?
It looks like a swamp.
Yeah, there's 2 swamps and a waste, but waste does not have a basic land type, so that is not searchable off of Beseju.
Right. We had that come up at the last event as a weird one, but
yeah,
the swamp is gettable.
Krista has a couple swamps here to find to potentially reduce the life cost of Dismember if that becomes relevant. And Beseju is just such a common card in Modern that you're going to want to have some basics, some fetchable lands off of that activation in a Tron deck of any sort.
True. All right, well, if you're Krista, you got to be pretty happy with what's going on there because we got to float mana, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, I got to float mana and then activate the expedition map.
I guess maybe Charles slightly misplayed there. But, oh, no, I guess you can always do it. Never mind. That's great. So Krista is like relatively happy that it happened because, you know, she wasn't that close to doing much of anything and she got to pop her map and go get another land. Was it Eldrazi Temple? I assume it was Eldrazi Temple.
I didn't get a great look at it.
Anywho, gonna go back Charles Davis's
Still,
way.
it looks like Davis was on the play here. Could have just activated the Beseiju on his own main phase when Krista was tapped out for the turn 1 map.
Well, I don't know if you know this. Chris has missed at least 2 land drops. So I don't know who went first in this game. I think Krista went first in this game, actually.
Maybe.
All right, well, Charles does find land number 3, which is the land that he really wants for some sort of a cascade effect, but instead just has Brazy Bee.
Unbeatable Brazen Borrower. Let's go.
Yeah, Brazen Borrower, this 3-cost, 3/1 flyer. A nice, aggressive addition to the Temur Rhinos package from a while back. It's fallen a little bit out of favor, but Charles is bringing it, and it looks pretty solid here. Chris are going to go ahead and blow it up with a Dismember.
Yeah, only has to pay 2 life with the Swamp there to pay for 1 of the Phyrexian black mana.
Now, Charles has, I believe, a Mystical Dispute in hand and is considering paying the retail cost for it, 3 mana, to stop that Dismember.
Such a powerful format modern. You can play 3 mana leak to counter your opponent's 2 mana removal spell on your 3 mana creature.
I feel like all my Pioneer decks would slaughter these decks. That's not true, but it does feel like some of their draws are lackluster.
Yeah,
but...
neither deck operating on every cylinder here so far, but that's a second Eldrazi Temple, but still no play. What is the hand for Krista?
Well, we're about to find out. Go back Charles Davis's way. We'll see.
His hand has a couple dead gons that are not particularly good in this matchup.
More importantly, did not have a Cascader on the first couple turns. That was the thing that Krista has to be very happy about that because her draw is pretty weak overall, I'd say.
Yeah, so definitely giving her some time. I think I see a Subtlety in Davis's hand as well. That can be quite good.
Okay, finds another land, and now Krista off to the races. Goes for Thought Not Seer. Oh, maybe has Warping Well up. Maybe he's been holding up Warping Well the whole time, and that's why she didn't play Thought Not Seer last turn.
Yeah, I think that is what's been going on here, trying to play around a Cascader.
Yeah, but we do have the hard cast Subtlety here, does Chug D. And a Subtlety going to knock that Thought Not Seer back to the top of the deck.
May need to use the Warping Well to exile the Brazen Borrower at this point.
Yeah.
So now we're at 12, staring at 6 damage.
I think that that's a fair point. We'll see if Krista agrees. She does put the Thought Not Seer on top, and it doesn't block either of these flyers. So if she does put it on top, it has to be the Warping Well right now. You know, Charles didn't go for the Cascade effects on either of the previous turns, so...
Yeah, Krista's still playing around it, though, and I think she's going to get punished. Ooh, another Subtlety off the top is an excellent draw. Oh, we are exiling it.
Yeah, but now Charles can just hard cast the Force Negation if that's what he's got. You see him tilt his hand sideways to read Dead Gone to see if he can bounce his own creature.
Charles decides to let that one go.
He passes the turn back. We'll see if Krista can capitalize now that she has a little bit of breathing room.
Got to figure the start of this turn is Thought Not Seer.
Yeah, that's super good for Charles, though, because we know that he drew another copy of Subtlety, and that one is going to be quite good. All right, here's the Thought Not Seer, and here comes the Subtlety. Krista, do you put it on top or bottom? Now, going to put it on bottom. Needs a big haymaker next turn to deal with both these 3/3s.
I think there's a Bolt in Davis's hand with the Force of Negation.
You think it's Bolt? You think there's a Bolt in the Temur
Oh,
Rhinos
yeah,
deck?
it can't be a Bolt.
Probably Fury. Maybe it's just more Dead Gons. Maybe a Bone Crusher Giant. A lot of cool stuff going on.
There's
in
definitely a red card.
Krista finds all is dust.
That's good.
Put them in the dirt. We have the Force of Negation, though, and Charles Davis takes game number 1.
Yeah, just too much stumbling there for Krista, and the Subtleties were really clutch for Charles Davis to not only stop what Krista was doing, but get the pressure on to close that game out quickly.
Right. Oh, that's a cool little magic hat that Chris was wearing. I'm jealous. You'll see in a second. All right. As these players are reaching to their sideboard to look for some help, I'm going to reach over to my right and ask Ross for some help. Ross, how does Krista improve this matchup? Eldrazi Tron versus Rhinos.
Well, Krista's sideboard is mainly a Karn the Great Creator sideboard, so I don't expect much to be changing. That said, I do see 2 copies of Stonebrain, 2 Stone of Eric, a Sorcerer's Spyglass, a Walking Ballista, a Sundering Titan, a Liquid Metal Coating, a Karn Silex, an Ensnaring Bridge, a Wormcoil Engine, the 4th copy of the One Ring, a Cityscape Leveler, a Filigree Silex, and a Chalice of the Void. Maybe you really want Chalice early. As a Karn target, if you're casting on turn 4, your opponent is likely to have been able to Cascade, so
Sure.
you might just want the Chalice, 4th Chalice in the main. If you need to clear up the Rhinos later, you can get that copy of the Filigree Silex with a Karn, or you can get the Ensnaring Bridge to stop them from attacking in the first place. So
Yeah, I like that. Having just the chalice in hand instead of in the sideboard seems reasonable.
yeah, we might see some other small swaps, but I think that is the most obvious one.
All right, well, on the other side of things, Chuck playing that unique take on Team of Rhinos. What does he have coming in on his side?
Well, I see 3 copies of Endurance, 2 Force of Vigor, 2 Mystical Dispute, 2 Fury, 2 Obsidian Charmaw, 1 Brotherhood's End, 1 Boseiju Who Endures, 1 Commandeer, and 1 Magus of the Moon. There's a lot of cards I like here. I like having more answers to Chalice of the Void, so Force of Vigors, Boseiju, which could also break up Tron. I like maybe even the Brotherhood's End, just for the Destroy Artifact mode as possible. I like Magus of the Moon against the Tron deck. I potentially like Commandeer. Commandeering a One Ring is pretty cool. Commandeering like an Ugin.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm a big Commandeer fan, personally.
Yeah. I love Obsidian Charmaw. That should be a good one. And even Fury could be good. There's plenty of Planeswalkers to hit with it and other creatures. So there's a ton of options. It'll be interesting to see what directions Charles Davis decides to go in, because I don't think he can bring all of those cards in. So he's going to have to pick and choose, maybe get some of this weaker removal out of the deck, things like Dead Gone. Fire Ice is still probably good enough just because it also pitches to Force of Negation and Subtlety. And the Ice mode is pretty good. But you can't sideboard too much because you got to leave in that Cascade engine.
All right. Well, as these players are doing their mulligans and stuff, I'd like to take this time to thank our sponsors for this weekend's event. First up, thank you so much to Ultimate Guard. Ultimate Guard TCG products like the Katana sleeves and the Archive deck box are top of the line for what you're trying to buy. Those Katana sleeves have been, I don't know, hard to find for the last like decade or however long they've been out, like 7 years or whatever. And they're always the chase sleeves whenever we go to events. Shout out to our brand new sponsor, Moxfield. Moxfield is an awesome deck building website you can use to share your decks with your friends and save your decks so that you have them stored for later. I've been using them on my personal stream and they are quite good. And thanks so much to TCGplayer.com. They are our flagship sponsor here on the Apex Gaming series. And we're so happy to have them. If you need singles from Magic the Gathering all the way to Yu-Gi-Oh!, Disney's Lorcana, make sure to check out TCGplayer.com for all of your TCG needs. They also have a nice Splinter website, TCG Player Infinite, which contains written strategy articles from big names such as Frank Karsten, and we are super excited to have them on board with us.
Okay, it looks like both players taking a mulligan here in game 2. Normally the Rhinos deck can mulligan pretty aggressively because the cascades into Crashing Footfalls give you a lot of additional material. And then we know that Tron decks tend to mulligan well because once you assemble Tron, it's like your +4 lands.
Yeah, and the Tron decks in general, like, I would mulligan down to 3 or 4 looking for Tron. In the green Tron decks, as far as Eldrazi Tron is concerned, I think there's a much wider range of keepables, especially if you're playing something like Mind Stone or some other accelerator.
Yeah, no accelerants in this version. Does have 2 copies of Inscribed Tablet to supplement the 4 copies of Expedition Map in order to quickly find and assemble Tron.
All right, well, players here are resolving mulligans, and we're here for turn number 1. Krista O plays Tronland into Chalice of the Void on 0. Charles Davis has his work cut out for him. Does he have the Force of Negation to stop it? We'll see.
And it's an interesting game as to when you want to time these chalices because the later you cast them, the more likely your opponent is to be able to find a force of negation for it. But if you play it out early, then you let your opponent potentially time their disenchants more effectively with the rest of their spells. So Krista opting to be, aggressive, just put it on the table starting on turn 1.
All right, so Charles Davis here. Going to go cycling Lorien Revealed. No turn 2 play from Krista, but we know that she has at least Warping Well in the deck as instance. So has that as potential interaction.
Yeah, and I believe that is Mine and Tower. So
I know
close
they're
to Tron.
different. Is that good
Yeah.
enough? I think it's good enough that I know that there's 2 of them and they're different.
The
Left one looks like mine.
Yeah, the one on Chris's left has got to be a Mine.
Yeah, but is that second one a power plant? Because the name doesn't look long enough to be power plant, but it doesn't look like a tower. Although she did put the art matching, like it looks like it's a one picture, right? There's like that's just the power plant. That's fine. All right, we're gonna go back Charles Davis's way. Went and found a land off the Lorien. We'll see if he has anything to do on turn 2. We're gonna just cycle another Lorien Revealed.
So relatively slow starts for both players again. Not sure if Davis has an answer to that chalice, and at this point is going to need to take turn 3 off to answer it before cascading. So Krista has plenty of time to work with. Okay, that's definitely a tower. So I think we've assembled Tron.
Yeah. All right. Here's Karn the Great Creator. Shields are down for Charles unless he has Force of Negation, and we know he didn't use Force of Negation on Chalice of the Void.
That is a force near the back of the hand. I think there's also a subtlety.
Okay, cool. Well, we do have the answer then. Let's see which one he wants to go for. And here's Force of Negation, looks like, pulled to the front. It's going to deal with it permanently, where subtlety only deals with it for a turn.
Shardless Agent, the Exile, and I think if you're Krista, this is a perfectly fine trade. Your opponent has no pressure. You've got an answer to their main threat already on the battlefield.
Right.
You got your Tron assembled. You're just going to start throwing haymakers.
Alrighty. Land number 3 for Charles. Does he have an answer to the Chalice of the Void? We'll see. And he passes back. Krista O.
Oh, you know what card I think I see in Davis's hand is Commandeer.
Oh, I wonder if we have 2 blue cards. I just saw a Flame of Venor as well, so I think we have multiple ways out no matter what happens.
Commandeer and Karn the Great Creator is not
you can
particularly
plus
good.
On the Chalice of the Void.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
And it means that it's effectively countered, right? I would definitely commandeer this because it's a double answer.
There are no artifacts in his sideboard to be able to get with it.
Yeah, but just cool. Being a counter spell that kills Chalice of the Void also just feels like a very good use of good use of resources.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be down a card, but that card on the battlefield also has some use, shutting down various artifacts that Krista
can
shut
off any future Chalice of the Void as well.
Future chalices, future expedition maps, inscribed tablets, filigree Silex out of the sideboard if Krista finds her own cards.
Man, I think I sold myself on commandeering this card.
Yeah, you would have preferred to do it on a Karn Liberated, but that's not this kind of Tron deck.
All right, I'm going to be the dice police. Can we get some big dice over there, please? Our spotter here is slacking. I'm going to go holler at him in a minute.
Just disrespectful.
Look, it's Big Dice City, okay? Ross, tell me what that yellow dice says.
I'm going to guess it says 3.
That's a good guess, but I don't know.
So we have clearly -2 to this Karn. Yeah, get that die out of here. There's a readable one.
There's a reason we have the big dice in the feature match area, and it's because it's hard to see little dice on camera. Especially when they, I don't know, are yellow on white. Yellow on white, that's horrible for us.
Yeah, just color the pips black when your die is that bright.
Yeah. All right. Krista's going to go digging through the board, finds a copy of the One Ring, and I believe has a land drop for the turn, so can play the One Ring here. And that's what we're going to do. But Commandeer is going to take it, but with Karn the Great Creator on the table, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah. Charles getting excited at being able to get a One Ring, but going to need to take the Karn off the table before he starts using it.
All right, Flame of Venor on the One Ring. Or, sorry, on the Chalice of the Void, and that's going to blow it up.
Could have. Does Flame hit Planeswalkers? So,
I believe it is destroy an artifact, draw 2 cards, 5 to a creature. I could be wrong. Could go to Planeswalkers. Let's take a peek. Flame of Venor. 5 damage to target creature.
Yeah,
Hey! I am so smart. SMRT. Every time I can make a Simpsons reference, I like to because Ross is a big Simpsons head.
Yes, an angel gets its wings.
Okay, we're going to go
That's a
suspended and
crashing
crashing
footballs.
footballs. Yeah.
Tapping a Gruul land off the top. Yeah, that's a crashing footballs.
Yeah, Dead Gone ain't doing nothing. One ring on the side for Charles Davis. That was commandeered last turn, but it doesn't do anything right now. I don't know what that is. It looks like a Wormcoil engine. Who knows? Krista wins game number 2. Charles packs it in. I feel like Commandeer on the Karn puts Charles in a very good position to win that game. Because he can pitch the Flame of Venor and maybe keep a Cascade card, if that's what he has. But, anywho.
Well, I think it might have been a Sundering Titan to blow up all the lands.
The quick concession on that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, as these players are shuffling up here for game number 3, I'd like to say thank you so much to Apex Gaming, the folks here, for having Ross Merriam and myself, Todd Anderson, a.k.a. Tandy, bringing you live coverage of these events all weekend. We're here in Caldwell, Ohio, casting a last chance qualifier this evening. We're in round number 2 of 5. Tomorrow, we have 2 more last chance qualifiers where we're going to give away 8 more total slots, 12 in all in these 3 events. And on Sunday, our main event, that $20,000 invitational, that's going to be modern, and it's going to be a one-day event happening on Sunday.
Yeah. Now, there are prizes for these last chance qualifiers as well.
Yeah.
Outside of the invite for the top 4, there's prize wall ticket prizes down to the top 8. And it's pretty solid. First place at 25,000 tickets. That is, I'm looking at their cash equivalent for the modern payout on Sunday, and it says $200 is equal to 24,000. So 25K, a little over $200.
That's pretty sick, and there's some really cool prizes on the prize wall. I know last time we were here, there was like a foil set of Commander Masters.
An uncut sheet.
An uncut sheet of Commander Masters, but it was like the fun versions of the cards too.
Yeah, and there's another foil uncut sheet of Commander Masters out there. That's 50,000 prize tickets. So the winner of this will get halfway there.
Cool, and all of our events here, cash is nice, right? But you get a little bit extra when you take the Chuck E. Cheese tickets. And the Chuck E. Cheese tickets actually buy some really dank stuff off that prize wall. When I was a kid, Chuck E. Cheese tickets, you would say, like, oh, I really want that Super Nintendo that's back there. How much is that, Mr. Clerk person?
4.5 million.
Yeah, 4.5 million. That'll take you 16 years. They'll have 6 new consoles come out by then, so what's the point? But you can come out and play, and if you win prizes, you get tickets, and man, they got some good stuff on there. I mean, the baseline is just buy a booster pack. That's pretty good for, I don't know the base cost, but you get it.
Yeah, so our players here are competing for some prizes, and based on our attendance for this LCQ, I think it's going to be a pretty clean cut at 4-1. So players striving for that 4-1 record to get into the Sunday 20K.
All right, well, Crashing Footfall suspended on 1. Let's see if Krista has a chalice or something here. Just says go. We're going to go back Charles Davis's way. Ticks down to 3.
Now, real question is that land a power plant? You got to go up.
Yes, it is. I know that now.
Yeah.
We learned that from last game. I know what they all are now.
I know them all. We're learning.
All right, just a land number 2 for Chug D. I'm going to pass it back to Krista. That's a tower. So we got 2 pieces of Tron online.
Is it going to be a second game in a row of Natty Tron?
I mean, you don't win with Tron without drawing Tron. That's what I learned.
Put the cards in your deck to draw them.
She mulliganed. She found Tron. End of story, end of game. All right, Cycling Luring Revealed, going to go get Basic Island. This screams Blood Moon potential. I'm curious if Charles has it in hand or even in the deck. We get a peek at the 75, Mr. Ross.
Yeah, I believe there's a Blood Moon in the main and then a Magus of the Moon in the sideboard. So 2 moon effects in the Davis list.
Krista might have an answer for it, but it is relatively difficult for her deck to beat once it is in play.
Yeah. So the Blood Moon is a lot harder to answer. If it's Magus of the Moon, Krista has Dismembers in
Which
the deck.
member?
Dismember.
There it is.
No Moon. Looks like it might just be a Violent Outburst here. Charles
yes.
Davis.
Just Violent Outburst. Looks like a Blast Zone for Krista O. But who knows?
Unfortunately, Blast Zone enters with a counter on it.
Yeah. It's funny if there was a and we have the Warping Well for the Crashing Footfalls, and Krista O coming prepared. We'll see if Charles Davis can rebuild. What was I saying?
I mean, we're already mostly rebuilt.
Oh,
There's another. I think there's another Violent Outburst in hand too, but the one suspended on turn 1 is almost ready to fall.
I figured it out. If a Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon's in play and you play a Blast Zone, it enters with no counters. Then you kill that thing, and then Blast Zone can blow up Rhinos.
Oh yeah, I thought
Although,
of that attraction.
Does it say non-land permanents?
I believe so.
Okay. Let's get Blast Zone on the screen. You already got it pulled up on the computer. All right, here it is.
Non-land permanent.
Non-land permanents. Okay, so we don't get to blow up all the lands and the Rhinos. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, if you could do that, people would have been trying to do weird things with Blast Zone.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of you could Hex Parasite it.
Whew. Now you speak my language. Why aren't we doing that? Because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
All right, here's an Obsidian Charmaw. That's going to come down and blow up a land on Krista's side. This is exactly the type of follow-up Charles wanted after the Crashing Footfalls. Still pretty good, even without access to those 2 Rhinos.
And that's is, of course, the reason that I sang that second line of Maneater, because Charmaw chews things up. I wanted to foreshadow Obsidian Charmaw.
I see. See, I thought you were just piggybacking on my extremely good joke.
It's certainly not because I'm a lunatic.
Is that Matter Reshaper?
It's definitely not Matter Unshaper.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Can we get Ross a coffee?
Things are a little bit looser on the Friday night stream.
That's true. That's true. Dude, Friday streams are fun. We get to cut loose a little bit. There was one weekend where we had some of our friends come in and do it for us because we didn't want to do it.
Well, I said that Matter Reshaper was a fine card against Rakdos. It does not seem like a good card in this matchup.
What? It's a 3/2.
Yeah,
It's
gonna gain 2 life by blocking a 4/4 trampler.
And then look at the top card of your deck. Maybe it goes in your hand and maybe it goes into play. Who knows? Here's 2/4/4 Rhinos from Chuck D on your right. And these are coming in on the upkeep, so they cannot attack this turn, but they will be attacking next turn. We can go ahead and resolve another Crashing Footfalls. Oh, nope. We can resolve another Crashing Footfalls right now while Krista's shields are down. But Charles is going to say, I'm just going to say go and get Warping Weld again.
Well, by holding up, you play around potentially All is Dust, and there are 3 copies of All is Dust in Krista's list, so...
That's fair. Well, Krista does not assemble Tron, plays a redundant copy of Urza's Tower.
Yeah. Could have also been Karn the Great Creator plus Filigree Silex.
Well, step 1 for Krista is finding that 3rd Tron piece. I believe we're missing Urza's Mine.
Ooh.
Here is a Karn the Great Creator hardcast, 4 mana. Charles Davis here could have the answer. If Krista goes for... Okay, so this is pretty scary. If she goes for Chalice of the Void, she is taking a huge chunk of damage. And if she goes and doesn't have an answer to the full force that are in play, but if she goes and gets Filigree Silex, that Ratchet Bomb replacement, that can deal with all the tokens next turn if she's able to survive the attack.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm thinking of. That's the real problem. Do you even survive? If Davis makes 2 more 4/4s on the end step, that's a lethal attack. You can only block 2 of it with the Reshaper. Any Dead Gone, any
Spell,
Fire Ice, Fury, all of those will end the game in favor of Charles Davis.
Yep.
So,
okay. See what Krista wants to go. Charles doesn't want to tip his hand. He knows that he has the game on the ropes and doesn't want to give Krista the ability to find something that could punish him. I'm just going to say that's Staff of Domination. Just goes and gets Staff of Domination. Here is Violent Outburst. 1, 2. My man be shuffling his cards upside down.
Ooh, yeah, can't be doing that.
Nah, I think it just happened at some point during the fetch land. This is a little grody. I've been looking for a pattern. I don't see any. It just looks like some cards got flipped upside down.
Yeah, got to be careful about this. Technically, these are marked cards.
Well,
just without a pattern.
we'll alert the judge after this game, and we'll make sure Charles is aware of the infraction. He might pick up a warning because of it, but this type of thing happens, and at some point, you want to fix it. But
Got to be careful when you're shuffling your deck. Maintain that same orientation for all of your cards.
all right, well, 2 more Rhinos coming in on the end step, and now we're gonna go back Charles's way. There's Magus to the moon, but here's Questing Beast.
QB will do it too.
That's it. Krista O defeated, and Charles Davis takes it 2-1 with Temur Rhinos over Eldrazi Tron.
And the judge swooping in immediately, sees that had cards going every which way.
Yeah, so there is a potential for pattern. Like if he put all of his sideboard cards in upside down, basically, there's a chance that when the card's on top of his deck, he can say, "Oh, okay, this is obviously a sideboard card. You are going to get in trouble."
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what's happening. I'm watching Garrison talk to him right now, and it looks like it's just a, "Hey, fix your deck, buddy."
Yeah, and be more careful in the future.